NFL preseason Week 1 starts today, and the regular season is less than 4 weeks away. Before the collisions begin in earnest, here's a question worth sitting with. What is actually happening when one NFL player hits another? Not in terms of strategy or technique, in terms of physics, because the answer changes how you watch the sport permanently. This is the physics of an NFL hit. 1. The force. Start with force because everything else follows from it. An average NFL defensive back weighs around 200 pounds and runs a 40-yard dash in approximately 4.56 seconds. According to research by Timothy Gay, a physics professor at the University of Nebraska and author of The Physics of Football, that combination of mass and velocity can generate up to 1,600 pounds of tackling force. To put that in context, a typical car crash at 35 miles per hour produces roughly the same impact energy as a high-speed NFL collision. The difference is that in a car crash, you experience it once. In an NFL game, a lineman experiences a version of it between 40 and 60 times, every single game. 2. What happens to the head? The force applied to the body is significant, but what happens to the head is where the science becomes genuinely alarming. Newton's first law explains it precisely. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. When a player's body stops suddenly on impact, their head continues moving and then snaps back. That rapid acceleration and deceleration measured in g-forces is what determines whether a hit causes a concussion. Researchers at Virginia Tech, using helmet sensors implanted in real games, found that head accelerations of 100 g occur routinely in NFL play. Some impacts exceed 150 g. For comparison, fighter pilots typically experience 9 g during high-speed maneuvers before losing consciousness. The human head in an NFL collision endures forces of that magnitude in a fraction of a second, repeatedly throughout a career. 3. The physics of protection. The equipment is designed around one principle. Distribute the force across a larger surface area and extend the duration of the impact, because both reduce the peak acceleration experienced by the brain. The foam padding inside an NFL helmet, originally developed by NASA to protect astronauts from G-forces during liftoff, compresses and rebounds to absorb energy that would otherwise transfer directly to the skull. Shoulder pads are molded with right angles specifically to deflect incoming force rather than absorb it head-on. Every piece of equipment is solving the same physics problem. How do you reduce the peak of a force curve without eliminating the collision entirely? The answer in 2026 is better than it has ever been, but it is still not a complete solution, because the physics of repeated subconcussive impacts, hits that produce no symptoms but still accelerate the brain inside the skull, are harder to engineer away than single catastrophic collisions. 4. The physics of survival. The athletes who last longest in the NFL aren't necessarily the ones who avoid the biggest hits. They're the ones whose bodies are best at recovering from them. Research on recovery physiology in high-impact sports shows that soft tissue damage, inflammatory response, and neuromuscular fatigue all accumulate across a season in ways that compound each other. A player who is slightly under-recovered going into Week 12 is not just slower and more tired. They're mechanically less efficient, which means they absorb force less effectively, which means each subsequent hit is more dangerous than the one before. Sleep, nutrition, and soft tissue maintenance, not strength training, are the 3 most predictive factors of injury resilience across a long NFL season. The teams that have understood this longest are the ones with the most healthy rosters in January. An NFL hit is a physics problem, a biology problem, and an engineering problem, all compressed into a fraction of a second. The players absorbing those hits this season will do so hundreds of times before a ball is thrown in anger in the playoffs. The ones still standing in February will be the ones whose bodies handled the physics better than everyone else. Welcome back to the NFL. What do you think is the most physically demanding position on the field? Drop it in the comments.